LJ Institutes of Engineering and Technology. In the current video lecture series, we are studying the subject of Physics Group 1. Till now, in the chapter of Properties of Matter, we have learned the what is basics of stress and strain, concepts of elasticity, along with the derivation of time period of a torsional pendulum, work done in stretching a wire or a shaft, and the torsional rigidity of cylinder for both hollow and solid materials. Now, in this video, we will learn the derivation of a depression of a cantilever beam fixed at one end and loaded at the other end. But before moving further, let's discuss what is a beam and what is a cantilever. So, beams are important parts in the industries and architecture. A beam is a rod of uniform cross section having very large length as compared to its breadth and the width. And a uniform beam clamped at one end and loaded at the other end is known as a cantilever. So, in the current context, if you think a long bar which has length too much long compared to its cross-sectional area, if you think of this pen, okay, it has a length much more compared to its cross-sectional area, it can be subjected as a beam. Okay, you might be knowing the beams are used in construction works, construction of bridges and houses. Okay, so such a kind of beam, when it is fixed at one end, if the beam is fixed at one end and the other end is loaded, if the other end is loaded, such a kind of beam is known as a cantilever beam. A uniform beam, it must be of uniform cross section. The cross section must not vary. Okay, it must be clamped at one end, rigidly clamped. It must be rigidly clamped. Okay, remember the word. Okay, and the other end must be loaded. If the load can be of any type, a uniformly distributed load or a point load. Okay, so such a kind of beam is known as a cantilever. Now, a cantilever gets depressed when a long beam is clamped horizontally at one end to a rigid support and the load is placed at the other end. Okay, by knowing the dimension of a beam and the load applied, one can find the depression in a cantilever beam. Now, there are certain assumptions which need to be made before calculating the derivations. Okay, so what are the assumptions we shall discuss? So, our next topic is the assumptions to obtain the expression of a cantilever beam loaded at a free end. Okay, so first one is elastic limit should not exceed. The elastic limit of the beam material should not exceed, because if it is exceeded, then the beam will get failed. Okay, in comparison to the load, weight of the beam is negligible. Whatever the load is applied, we are applying much higher load such that the weight of the beam becomes negligible. Okay, now shear stress over any cross section is zero. There is no shear stress, only the bending load is there. Okay, shear stress is not present there. Material of a beam has same Young's modulus in tension and compression. Either in tension or in compression, the Young's modulus should remain constant throughout the material. The geometrical moment of inertia should be constant. Okay, so as we have discussed, the shape, the geometry of the object must remain constant throughout the cross section. Okay. Now, radius of curvature of a neutral surface should be large as compared to its thickness. Okay, the radius of curvature of a neutral surface should be very large compared to its thickness. So, what is a neutral surface? How to find out neutral surface? We will discuss that later in this current video. Okay, but before that, let us understand the bending of beam. Okay, so for that, let us consider the example of cantilever beam. If you can see, you can do it by yourself at home as well. If you can see, this is a cantilever beam. Okay, it is if the load is applied over here, load at the end. Okay, so the point load is applied. So let us consider this to be a fixed one. I am applying a load, I am bending it. So because of that, because of the bending, it is formed in the shape of an arc. It is an elastic material. Okay. So beams are generally elastic in nature. They have steel framing in there. Okay. So it provides the elasticity. So because of that, if you can see, if you can observe the outer surface, okay, the filament on the outer side undergoes the tension. Okay, if you can stretch it, it is in tension or it is elongated. Whereas on the contrary, the inner surface or the inner filament is in compression, or it is said as a compressed. So outer surface is in tension and inner surface is in compression. Whenever this is subjected to a point load like this, if you can see, the outer surface, the radius is increased and inner surface, the length is decreased. So there is some layer or filament in between these two, outer and inner, such that there is no compression or elongation, which is free of compression and elongation. So that layer is known as a neutral layer, and whatever the calculations to be done will be done on that layer. Okay, we are going to do the calculations on that neutral layer. Remember it very well. Okay, the filament on the outer side, as you can see in the figure, undergoes a tension and are elongated, while the filaments on the inner sides are compressed. Okay, so between such layer, there is a layer that is neither elongated nor compressed. It is known as a neutral layer. You can see in the figure I have shown it. Okay. So, thus, it gives the bending moments. So, how to find out the bending moments? Let's discuss that. The filament above the neutral surface are elongated and the filaments below the neutral layer is compressed. Okay. So, the increase and decrease in the length is directly proportional to the distance from the neutral surface. Okay. And the sum of the moments of the couple about the neutral axis is known as a bending moments. So, let's move to the topic of, this was all about the basics of the beam, which you must need to understand before studying the equation of the depression. Okay. So, let's discuss the depression of a cantilever fixed at one end and loaded at the other end. As you can see in the figure, okay, there is one beam fixed at one end point O and the end point is loaded. The length of the beam is L. Okay. So let's start with the first case of today's session, that is depression of a cantilever fixed at one end, loaded at the other end. Okay. So in order to find the depression of a cantilever, let us first of all derive an expression of bending moment of the beam. Let us consider a filament ED situated at a distance small r from the neutral filament N dash as shown in figure B. The length of the filament AB and ED is same under the unstrained condition. Okay, that is N dash is equals to ED is equals to R phi. Under the unstrained condition, under the strained condition, the length of the filament ED is equals to capital R plus small r into phi. So strain is given by change in length to the original length. So change in length is given by new length minus original length. So we know that new length is equals to capital R plus small r into phi. Original length is equals to r phi. So that is how the change in length comes, and divided by original length is r phi. So we get the ratio of strain is equals to small r by capital R. Now we know that stress is equals to strain into Young's modulus. The stress is also given by force upon area. So place the value of force upon area in place of stress. So we get the equation F by A is equals to Y into strain is small r by capital R. So we get the force. Okay, force is equals to y into a into r, that is small r, okay, divided by capital R. Now, moment of force tau can be given as small r into what, the displacement into force. Small r is the displacement and force is equals to ya small r upon capital R. So small r into small r gets multiplied and becomes r square. So ultimately we get the equation of moment of force tau is equals to ya small r square divided by capital R. Now the total moment of force acting on the filament due to straining can be given by capital T. Right now we have calculated was only for the neutral filament, okay, was only for the one layer of the beam. Now for total we need to get summation, algebraic summation. So capital T is the total moment of forces and total moment of forces is given by beam notation capital T, okay. So capital T becomes sigma into ya small r square upon capital R. We know that y upon r are constants and sigma into ar square becomes geometric moment of inertia. We term that as sigma into ar square as a new term. We define it as Ig. We give it the symbol of I suffix g, that is geometrical moment of inertia. So the total moment of forces capital T becomes y upon r into Ig. Okay, so this is nothing but the bending amount of beam. Okay, in the equilibrium, the bending moment of a beam is equal and opposite of the moment of bending couple due to the load on one end. And the quantity over here, y into Ig, that is the numerator, y into Ig, Young's modulus into geometrical moment of inertia, is termed as a flexural rigidity of the beam. I repeat the statement, the quantity y into Ig, that is the numerator, is called the flexural rigidity of the beam. So from the figure A, the forces W is equals to mg acting at point B vertically downward produces an equal reaction at capital A vertically upward. Okay, consider this to be a beam. If I apply force over here, point B, its reaction will be obtained at the fixture point, point A. Okay, the reaction will be in opposite direction according to the Newton's third law of motion. Okay, every action has equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so these two forces generate a couple due to which a beam bends, and the bending moment mg into L minus x is balanced by a restoring couple formed by the forces acting on a part PB. So on comparing these two forces, mg into L minus x is equals to y upon r into Ig, where y is the depression of beam and the radius of curvature capital R is given by, must we know this equation. This is a equation based on the calculated data. Okay, so this is an empirical relation. What are the empirical relations? Those equations which we have derived from the experimental data after plotting the graphs and too much experiments. Let us say the experiment can be conducted on the number of thousands. Okay, and then after plotting a smooth curve and we form an equation, that such a kind of equation are known as a empirical relations. Okay, so from the empirical relations we have got 1 upon r is equals to del square y by del x square upon 1 plus dy by dx whole square whole raised to 3 by 2. As the depression is small, slope is very small, and hence dy by dx whole square can be neglected in comparison with 1 plus 0 0 0 0 0 0 something. So that can be neglected. Dy by dx whole square becomes 0.000 something. So we can neglect that part. Okay. So our expression 1 upon r becomes d square y by dx square. The numerator is 1. Okay, so we 1 upon r is the rate of change of slope, and it can be written as d square y by dx square. On placing that value, we get 1 upon r is equals to d square y by dx square is equals to mg into L minus x upon y into ig. Okay. So on integrating this, we get, on first integration, we get dy by dx, that is equals to mg upon y into ig. That is constant, we have taken out. And in bracket we have integrated Lx minus x square by 2. L minus x gets integrated as Lx minus x square by 2. On second integration we get mg y is equals to, small y is the diffraction, okay, or we can say that deflection as well. The y is equals to mg upon capital Y ig in bracket Lx square by 2 minus x cube by 6. You must know the difference between capital Y and small y. Capital Y is the Young's modulus, that is dependent on the material, and small y is the depression obtained. If you can see this thing again, it is in a straight line. If it is fixture at one end, in the unloading condition, it is a straight line. Whenever the load is applied, it is bent. So whatever the part it has got deflected, this much amount is known as a y. Okay, we have also discussed it in a previous figure. So we are finding the depression at the free end of the cantilever beam, that is x equals to L. We are finding the depression, whatever the amount y is there at the end of the beam, that is x equals to L. So placing the value of x equals to L in the above equation, we get y is equals to mg upon y ig in bracket L cube by 2 minus L cube by 6. So on taking LCM, we get small y is equals to mg L cube by 3y ig. That is the equation of a depression of a cantilever beam. Now, for a beam with a rectangular cross section, we have breadth b and thickness d. So its moment of inertia ig becomes bd cube by 12. You might be knowing it very well. The moment of inertia is dependent on the geometry of the surface. So for rectangle section, it is bd cube by 12. So the depression is y mg L cube by y bd cube. What happens for a circular section? So for circular section, we have ig is equals to pi r square by 4. So the depression is y into mg into L cube upon 3y pi r raised to 4. So that was all about the depression of a beam for a cantilever. Now in the next video, we will learn to calculate the depression of a cantilever beam subjected to a uniformly distributed load. This was the load subjected to a point load. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.